Single mom reveals heartwarming journey of rejection to life-changing moment when millionaire changes everything. Jessica's heart raced as she navigated the crowded streets of Maplewood, a place where the scent of barbecues wafted through the air and laughter echoed after dusk. As a single mother, every day was a battle, but she approached each one with fierce determination. She was stubbornly committed to the dream she held for herself and her radiant daughter, Lily. But the weight of the world felt heavier than ever. Each rejection letter, stamped with the word sorry, cut deeper, igniting shame that burned in her chest. How was she to provide for Lily when it seemed the world was thriving around them? Every Saturday, despite her challenges, Jessica and Lily made their way to the local farmer's market. It was there, in the kaleidoscope of colors and the warmth of friendly smiles, that she found a flicker of light. Vendors greeted them like family, offering fresh produce and kind words, each interaction weaving a tapestry of community spirit that made her feel less alone. "You're doing great, Jess," a neighbor would say, and for a moment, the burden felt lighter. Yet, deep inside, the echo of her unworthiness remained, a haunting reminder amidst public cheers. One fateful evening shifted everything. Mark, the charismatic millionaire known for his thriving helicopter business, walked into her life, and oh, how the air crackled with possibility. He believed in second chances. When Jessica accepted a part-time job at his company, it became more than just work, it turned into hope. But mixing worlds complicated the simple matters of the heart. As they formed a connection, latent class barriers began to twitch. Judgment lurked behind every corner, waiting to pounce. Then came the charity fundraiser, an event meant for good, but what transpired there tested Jessica's resolve. Rumors swirled in the air. Whispers about the Millionaire's charity case whispered louder than the music playing in the background. The weight felt profound. Everyone had their eyes on her, and in those critical moments, she felt exposed. But Jessica stood her ground, emotions sparking like the fireworks above, fierce and unyielding. "I have worked too hard to be ashamed of who I am," she cried out unexpectedly, turning heads and silencing murmurs. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Jessica's admission cracked the surface, exposing their shared vulnerabilities. It was an electric moment that pulled them together. The tension between her insecurities and his privilege crackled in the static air. Hope flickered amid uncertainty, revealing an undeniable chemistry. Just when it seemed clarity was near, an unexpected twist arrived. An opportunity to invest in a small business floated into her life, like a spark igniting kindling. Her pulse quickened as she considered the chance to carve out her own identity, intertwined with her daughter's future. What would this mean? Could she break free from the shadows of rejection? As she stood on the precipice of transformation, her heart raced with excitement and fear. She was poised to take a leap into the unknown, ready to challenge the world's judgment, to inspire Lily and those around her. Would she muster the courage to claim her worth once and for all? The answer hung in the air, trembling with possibility, leaving readers breathless for what would come next. Jessica stood on the brink of something monumental, her heart a drum of uncertainty and hope. The small business opportunity felt like a lifeline thrown in turbulent waters. She imagined herself, not just as Lily's mother, but as someone with ambitions and dreams that could flourish into reality. It was terrifying to think of really going for it. "Mom, are you okay?" Lily's innocent voice cut through her swirling thoughts. The sun danced across her daughter's freckled face, illuminating those bright eyes filled with trust and love. Jessica knelt down, cupping Lily's cheeks. "I'm just thinking, sweet pea, about some new adventures." She smiled, though her stomach twisted with nerves. The weight of her decision settled in her chest. Adventurous. That word echoed in her mind, lighting a flicker of excitement. She took a deep breath. What if this was the key to showing Lily that they could rise beyond their struggles, that dreams could be real? Days turned into a whirlwind of research and sleepless nights, her mind racing with profit margins and branding ideas. Jessica was fueled by an adrenaline rush, the thrill of potential lifting the burden of the past. Mark offered support, but as their partnership grew, so did Jessica's hesitations. What if she failed? The sorry letters haunted her. In quiet moments, doubts whispered that she wasn't enough. But still, the spark of hope kept gnawing at her, pushing her forward. One afternoon, she found herself at the library, combing through books on small business startups. Pages rustled around her as she jotted down notes, each stroke of her pen a commitment to her future. That's when she overheard a group of women discussing their own ventures. Inspiration coursed through her. What if I started a little bakery? Jessica murmured to herself, imagining the aroma of freshly baked bread, the warmth of a welcoming space filled with laughter and joy. It was more than just a bakery. It would be a community hub. It was a vision she felt she could chase, yet doubt tugged at her. Those voices, they echoed stories of failure. It was one thing to dream. It was another to act. She glanced at her phone and scrolled to a text from Mark. Hey, how's everything going with the business idea? Let us meet up and discuss it. Her pulse quickened. Mark believed in her. And if she could just let that seed of confidence take root, she could perhaps defy the odds. Lily shuffled into the room, her tiny hands clutching a crayon and a piece of paper. Look, Mom, I drew us baking together. It was a picture of them side by side in an oven, the sun shining down. Tears pricked the corners of Jessica's eyes. That's beautiful, honey. She felt the warmth of a promise forming between them. Maybe this dream wasn't just a chance for her after all. It was a chance for both of them. With newfound determination, she texted Mark back, arranging to meet at their favorite cafe. The words poured from her heart. I'm ready to talk about the bakery. That simple phrase ignited a wildfire of anticipation within her. But as she prepared for their meeting, a familiar anxiety crept back. Was she really ready to step into this world? As the cafe's familiar sign came into view, Jessica hesitated for just a moment, her heart pounding fiercely against her ribcage. The journey ahead was uncertain, and yet a sense of purpose enveloped her. What awaited her on the other side of this venture? The door swung open, and a gust of warmth enveloped her. Her dreams were within reach, but would they be a blessing or a test of all she had fought for? What would she do if Mark shared a secret that could change everything? Jessica stepped into the cafe, her senses awakened by the rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingling with sweet pastries. It felt both inviting and overwhelming, reminiscent of a place filled with possibility. She spotted Mark at their usual corner table, a few scattered papers before him, and his eyes focused on the door, waiting for her. When he saw her, a smile broke across his face, and suddenly the cafe felt a little less daunting. She approached him, her heart racing, feeling the weight of her decision pressing on her shoulders. Hey, you made it, Mark said, gesturing to the seat opposite him. I was starting to think I'd have to convince you with free coffee. Their laughter offered a momentary reprieve from the storm inside her as she sat down. She tucked her hair behind her ear, trying to ignore the flutter of nerves knotting her stomach. They exchanged pleasantries before Mark leaned in. So, tell me about your bakery idea. I want to hear everything. Jessica took a deep breath, her pulse quickening. She launched into her vision, painting a vibrant picture of a cozy bakery where families would gather, share laughter, and fill their bellies with treats made from her heart. The fear of stumbling over her words faded as passion took over. She could see it clearly now, the lotions of lavender around freshly baked goods, the laughter of children. Mark listened intently, nodding, a spark of excitement matching her own. That sounds incredible, Jess. You really believe it can be a community space? Yes, she exclaimed, her voice a mix of determination and vulnerability. I want it to be more than a business. I want it to be a connection point for people, a place where memories are made. They exchanged ideas, their energy infectious. Mark's enthusiasm fed into her courage, and as they mapped out the basics, branding, pricing, the location, Jessica felt lighter, like pieces of her heart were being stitched back together with each word they spoke. But then Mark's expression changed, the light in his eyes dimming. He took a moment, looking at her seriously. I want to share something with you, and I need you to know it's important. Her heart dropped. She felt the air thickening, the impending weight of whatever was coming next. What could it possibly be? I haven't told you before, but he paused, the silence stretching between them, thick with tension. I have connections in the industry that could help get you off the ground. Hope began to flutter in her chest, but she was also scared. What do you mean? Are you saying you can help fund it? He nodded slowly. More than that. I have a friend who runs a successful bakery, and he could mentor you. It could make all the difference. Jessica felt the flood of emotions crash over her: gratitude, disbelief, but most of all, fear. But why would you do this for me? Mark's gaze softened. Because I see how hard you're working for this dream. You deserve it. And honestly, he leaned in closer, his voice dropping. You remind me of someone I once knew, someone with passion and drive who didn't back down. I believe you can do this. As his words settled over her, a mix of warmth and trepidation filled her. Was this what she needed? The opportunity to defy the odds. But with every opportunity, there came risks. What if I mess it up? She said, quiet desperation in her voice. You won, Mark replied, his certainty wrapping around her like a warm blanket. You can't fail if you don't let fear win. Jessica's heart raced. There was still a part of her that hesitated, that wanted to put up walls. But what if she took that leap of faith? What if this was the moment that changed everything for her and Lily? Okay, she whispered, the weight of potential settling in a blend of excitement and anxiety. Let us do it. Mark smiled, the tension releasing. Great. There is so much to explore. I'll set up a meeting with my friend, and we'll get the ball rolling. As they began to discuss the next steps, Jessica couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the start. But what if there were strings attached? What if Mark's help came with conditions that threatened everything she held dear? Jessica's mind buzzed as they delved deeper into the possibilities of her bakery. With each passing moment, she felt a mix of excitement and fear. The idea that she could actually pursue her dream was intoxicating, yet the nagging doubt clung to her like a shadow. What if it all falls apart? She asked, half joking but with a tremor of anxiety in her voice. Mark chuckled softly, but his eyes remained serious. Then you pick up the pieces and build again. But that won't happen if you don't try. You're capable of so much, Jessica. His unwavering belief ignited a fire within her. She imagined the aroma of baked goods filling the air and the laughter of children running through the doors. But just as quickly, her mind spiraled into a canyon of what-ifs. What if she lost money? What if her reputation suffered? What if she failed Lily? As if sensing her turmoil, Mark leaned back in his chair. You can do this, Jess. You have a light, and you need to let it shine. The warmth of his words wrapped around her, almost like an embrace. She wanted to accept his faith in her, but felt the weight of her past pulling her down. I haven't always been the person you see now. Mark shook his head slowly. We all have our struggles. What matters is where you're going from here. Don't let fear of the past define your future. Silence fell between them, interrupted only by the sounds of clinking cups and quiet chatter filling the cafe. She often prided herself on being strong, a single mom who juggled work and life. But this venture felt different, more significant. She realized it was about stepping outside the familiar shadows of her life. What if I'd like to share more about Lily? She's my light, my everything. I want this bakery not just for me, but for her. That is perfect. It makes your vision even brighter. You're building not just a business, but a legacy. Jessica felt tears welling in her eyes, but blinked them away, unwilling to let vulnerability take over. Mark's encouragement felt like a lifeline. For so long, it had just been her and Lily against the world. Now, it seemed that the universe was urging her to take a chance. But still, deep-seated fears clawed at her. What if Mark's involvement went beyond mentorship? What if he expected something in return, even unintentionally? She shook her head slightly, trying to cast off the creeping doubts. Let us set a date for that meeting, she suggested, trying to focus on the excitement again. The sooner I can tackle this, the better. Mark nodded enthusiastically, sharing her eagerness. Absolutely. I'll talk to my friend tonight and get back to you. Imagine what could happen. This could be the start of a beautiful journey. As the conversation flowed into plans and ideas, Jessica noticed a flicker in Mark's expression. It was determination mixed with something else. Was it hope? A shared dream? Before they parted, Jessica took a breath and voiced the question that had been perched on her tongue. And what about you, Mark? What do you hope to gain from this? He hesitated, considering her with a thoughtful gaze. Honestly, I just want to see you succeed. Your dream inspires me. His sincerity broke down the last of her walls. For the first time, She allowed herself to embrace the possibilities ahead fully, but the lingering question twisted in her mind. Was it just generosity? Or was there a deeper motive behind his desire to help her? As Jessica stepped into the crisp evening air, she felt the weight of uncertainty and hope balanced on her shoulders. One thought gnawed at her consciousness as she walked home. The seeds of change were planted, but could she nurture them without losing herself in the process? The next morning broke with a chill in the air, matching Jessica's nerves as she walked into work. The smell of coffee swirled around her like a comforting scarf, but her mind was elsewhere. She had dreams to chase, and for the first time in a long while, it felt like those dreams were within reach. But could she truly bring her bakery to life? At the coffee shop, she moved through her routine, blending into the rhythm of morning chatter and the hiss of steam from the espresso machine. Yet an uneasiness settled in her chest. Every time her phone buzzed, she hoped it was Mark with the news about the meeting. But as the hours ticked by, the anxiety grew. What if he had second thoughts? "Jess, everything okay?" her co-worker Sarah asked, concern etched on her face. Jessica forced a smile. "Yeah, just thinking about some plans." Sarah narrowed her eyes, unconvinced. "You sure? You seemed a bit distracted." Lily was the only bright spot in her otherwise anxious day. After work, she planned to pick her daughter up from school, and the thought alone filled her with warmth. Those little moments always brought her back to her center. When the final hour dragged on, she finally heard the ding of a message. Heart racing, she opened it to find Mark's name lighting up her screen. A meeting was set for next week, a chance to talk about her bakery. Just as relief washed over her, a new wave of doubt followed. What if the meeting didn't go well? What if he realized she wasn't as capable as he thought? Shaking her head, she reminded herself of his words. "You're capable of so much, Jessica." After work, she scooped up Lily from school. The sight of her daughter, with her bright blue backpack and a beaming smile, tugged at Jessica's heart. "Mommy, I missed you." Jessica knelt to embrace her tightly. "I missed you too, sweetie. Ready for some fun together?" Lily nodded eagerly, her laughter bubbling up like music. They headed to the park, where they spent the afternoon playing and making up stories on the swings. Each giggle from Lily chipped away at Jessica's fears, reminding her of the love and hope that fueled her dreams. As the sun began to dip, painting the sky shades of orange and pink, Jessica felt a mixture of happiness and fear swirling once more. "Lily, do you think we could have a little bakery one day?" Lily's eyes sparkled. "With cupcakes and cookies? And cakes?" "Yes, just like we dreamt." "What about donuts?" Lily bounced excitedly, her innocence washing over Jessica like a balm. "Absolutely." Jessica leaned back against the swing, feeling the cool metal beneath her, the world around her fading momentarily. But the worries still lingered. What if she failed? The idea of disappointing Lily felt like a weight on her shoulders. It was one thing to chase her own dreams, but this was also about Lily's future. Later that night, after putting Lily to bed, Jessica found herself staring into the empty kitchen. It felt foreign and yet filled with possibilities. She envisioned the counter lined with colorful confections. The laughter of children echoed in her mind. But as she stood there, staring out at nothing, her phone chirped again. An unexpected name flashed. Her ex, Robert. Her stomach dropped. What could he possibly want? With hesitant fingers, she opened the message. The words blurred as her heart raced. "I want to talk about Lily. We need to discuss your plans." A wave of anger mixed with apprehension surged through her. Was he going to challenge her? Could he throw a wrench in everything she wanted to build? Jessica took a deep breath. Uncertainty churned within her, but she refused to let it drown her spirit. The journey ahead wasn't just about opening a bakery. It was about proving to herself and Lily that they could rise above whatever challenges came their way. As she stared at the glowing screen, another question formed in her mind, one that pushed her heart into overdrive. Did she have what it took to face her past and forge a new future? Jessica tossed and turned the next morning, the weight of Robert's message still heavy on her mind. The prospect of confronting her ex filled her with dread, but deep down, it also ignited a spark of determination. She didn't want fear to dictate her life any longer. "Mommy," Lily called, her sweet voice breaking through Jessica's thoughts. "Yes, sweetheart," Jessica replied, forcing herself to focus. "I made you a drawing." Lily bounded into the room, clutching a colorful piece of paper that seemed to radiate joy. The moment her daughter held it up, Jessica's heart softened. Bright crayon colors shaped a vibrant sun with stick figures of themselves smiling under it. "It's beautiful. Look at the happy sun in us." She hugged the drawing against her chest, feeling a warmth settle in her heart. "Are we still going to bake today?" Lily asked, her excitement bubbling over. The thought of spending the day baking was a welcome distraction. "Absolutely. We'll make cupcakes." After breakfast, they moved to the kitchen, ingredients scattered across the counter like a chaotic palette of hopes and dreams. As they mixed the batter together, Lily's laughter filled the room, and Jessica felt lighter, if only for a moment. "Mom, can we add sprinkles?" Lily asked, eyes wide with anticipation. "Of course. The more, the merrier." They poured colorful sprinkles into the batter, and the small act was a reminder of the fun she wanted to have in her bakery. While they waited for the cupcakes to bake, Jessica peered at her phone again. No new messages from Robert. She hoped he would go easy on her when they eventually spoke, but she also reminded herself that she was capable of defending what was important as the cupcakes baked. The smell wafted through the house. It was heavenly. "Lily, I want to tell you something important," Jessica began, her tone shifting, becoming more serious. "Okay." Lily looked up, her small face serious now, mirroring her mother's intensity. "You know how Mommy wants to open a bakery, right?" "Uh-huh. Well, that means I need to be brave and stand up for our dreams, even when things get tough. It's important for you to see that, too. Like superheroes," Lily declared, her face lighting up again. "You're my superhero, Mommy." Jessica couldn't help but laugh softly. "Yes, just like a superhero. And you can be anything you want, too. Never forget that." Suddenly, the timer beeped, and they rushed to pull the cupcakes from the oven. They were golden brown, perfect little clouds of joy. As they cooled, Jessica felt a twinge of anxiety. She knew the conversation with Robert was coming. What would he say? Would he challenge her capabilities? But just then, Lily's laughter echoed in her ears, grounding her. Later that evening, after Lily was tucked in and the kitchen was cleaned, Jessica finally confronted the lingering message on her phone. With a deep breath, she began to type a reply, but then her heart raced yet again as another message popped up. It was from Mark. "Hey Jess, I can't wait for our meeting next week. Let us shape your bakery vision." She felt a rush of excitement. Could this really be happening? Could she actually turn her dreams into reality? Jessica fired back a quick reply, her fingers flying over the screen. It felt good to articulate her hopes, to let someone else know of her aspirations, making them more real by sharing them. But just when she thought she could finally sink into that excitement, Robert's name flashed again as another message came through. "Let us meet tomorrow to discuss Lily." Jessica's heart sank, the tension swirling in her chest once again. Tomorrow loomed like a storm cloud on the horizon. Would he push her buttons or see the strength within her? Taking a deep breath, she prepared herself for the challenge. Because whatever Robert had in store, she was ready to stand her ground. One meeting wouldn't derail all her dreams. And yet, the question loomed over her heart as she settled in for the night. Would she find the strength to protect her vision for Lily's future? Jessica woke the next morning with a knot in her stomach. The sunlight creeping through the curtains felt too bright, too cheerful, for the heaviness that hung over her. She glanced at the clock. It was nearly time for her meeting with Robert. After getting Lily ready for school, Jessica stood at the door, her palms clammy against the smooth surface of the doorknob. "Mommy, is everything okay?" Lily asked, looking up with those big, innocent eyes. "Of course, honey." Jessica forced a smile, ruffling Lily's hair before kneeling to meet her at eye level. "Just a busy day ahead." Lily nodded, but Jessica could see the concern splashed across her face. "Promise me you'll be okay?" "I promise," she whispered, and somewhere in that promise lay a flicker of hope that today could be different. Once Lily had been safely dropped off, Jessica sat in her car for a moment, staring into the empty parking lot. She could either turn around and head toward her warm kitchen or face Robert. Deep down, she knew it was time to confront the past, time to claim her space in the present. Gathering her strength, she stepped out of the car and walked towards the cafe they had agreed upon. The air was crisp and fresh, but her confidence began to wane with each step. Would he show remorse? Or would he launch into accusations, trying to chip away at her newfound resolve? As she entered, The smell of coffee drifted through the air. It felt welcoming. As she scanned the room, she spotted Robert in a corner booth. He looked just as she remembered, confident, but his brow was furrowed. "Jessica," he said, standing as she approached. His voice had that familiar weight, a mixture of contempt and vulnerability that always managed to stir unease inside her. "Robert," she replied, a fiery determination in her voice that surprised even herself. They settled into the booth, an uncomfortable silence stretching between them. Jessica traced the outline of the coffee cup in front of her, avoiding his gaze. "So, what did you want to discuss?" He leaned in, eyes narrowing. "I think it's time we talk about how you're raising Lily." Her heart raced. She had anticipated something along those lines, but hearing it out loud made it real. "What do you mean?" "We both know you're not equipped to handle everything alone. You're busy with your bakery dreams." His words dripped with condescension, a reminder of the doubts he'd always cast upon her. Jessica squared her shoulders. "I'm doing my best for her. I want to show Lily what it means to stand up for yourself. That's important. Raising children isn't just about ambition, Jess. It's about stability." Robert crossed his arms as if he were judging her all over again. "Stability? Or mediocrity?" Jessica countered, her voice firm. "I want her to know she can chase after her dreams. Isn't that what we want for her?" The heat of their argument began to build, tensions cracking between them like ice underfoot. Each accusation and defense was a reminder of their history, of the dynamics that had long since set them apart. Yet somewhere buried within, Jessica felt empowered. She was fighting not just for herself, but for Lily's future. Robert leaned back, a surprised expression crossing his face. "You've really changed." "Maybe I have," she said, finally locking eyes with him. "But I won't let anyone, including you, bring me down." As they continued to exchange words, something new unfolded inside her, a realization that she was not just defending herself against Robert, but redefining who she was as a woman and a mother. This strength was hers alone. Amidst their heated conversation, a sense of possibility hung in the air. The idea of a life where fear didn't dictate her choices felt exhilarating. It was a future she could shape with grit and hope. When he finally stood up to leave, Robert glanced over his shoulder. "You're really going to fight me on this?" "I won't fight you. I'll stand firm. Our daughter deserves to see her mother stand up for herself," Jessica replied, confidence surging through her. After he left, Jessica sat quietly for a moment, reflecting on how far she had come. This was just a conversation, but it felt monumental. Yet as she gathered her things to leave, her phone buzzed again. It was Mark. "Can't wait to dive deeper into your bakery plans tomorrow. This is going to be amazing." Jessica's heart raced, her thoughts racing between two worlds, one where Robert's doubt loomed large, and another where her dreams felt alive and tangible. She tucked her phone away, a smile breaking through on her lips. But in the back of her mind lingered the uncertainty of her next encounter with Robert. What would this new chapter of her life require? And could she finally silence the doubts once and for all? Jessica stood up, ready to leave the cafe, her heart lighter yet still racing from the confrontation. The bustling sounds of the patrons around her faded to a dull buzz as her mind spun with thoughts of the future. She didn't want to dwell on Robert's words anymore. Instead, she envisioned what lay ahead: her bakery, her dreams, her daughter blooming in an environment where ambition was cherished rather than ridiculed. As she stepped outside, the crisp morning air filled her lungs, invigorating and refreshing. She could practically taste the possibility on her tongue, sweet and rich like the pastries she would soon create. The thought of working with Mark reignited that spark within her, a spark she felt had dimmed for far too long. On the drive home, Jessica replayed the meeting in her mind. Each moment was vivid. The anger, the determination, and finally, the realization that she was not just doing this for herself, but for Lily. She reached a stoplight and let the moment settle. A wave of warmth washed over her, and she reached forward to adjust the rearview mirror, peering at her reflection. The woman looking back seemed stronger, more centered than she had in a very long time. Back at home, Jessica moved through her morning routine with a newfound purpose. She placed ingredients on the kitchen counter: a bowl of flour, a packet of yeast, bags of sugar, and a stick of butter, ready to intertwine them with warmth and love. As she worked, the act of baking started to liberate her further from the shadows of doubt. With each measure, Each stir, she could feel the weight of Robert's words fading. She mixed in vanilla and cracked open eggs, thinking of how she would teach Lily to bake one day. Imagining her daughter's tiny hands covered in flour made her smile. But in the midst of that domestic serenity, her phone buzzed again. This time, it was a message from Lily's school. Dear parent, we regret to inform you that due to unforeseen circumstances, we need to reschedule the parent-teacher meetings. Jessica's stomach dropped. She had been looking forward to those meetings, hoping to share her plans and vision for raising her daughter. Couldn't Robert at least see that? She focused on the screen as it continued. We will inform you of the new dates soon. Thank you. She set the phone down, frustration brewing beneath the surface. It seemed like every time she took a step forward, something tried to push her back. She scoffed softly, but then she remembered how far she had come in just a few short days. Instead of letting setbacks take the reins, she would adapt and keep moving forward. Diving back into baking, Jessica lost herself in the rhythm of the kitchen. The dough came together beautifully, and she felt a spark of excitement. The bakery logo floated in her mind, elegant and inspiring. Later that afternoon, the doorbell rang, jarring her from her baking reverie. She opened the door to see Mark standing there with a wide smile and a box in hand. Thought I'd bring you a surprise, he said, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. He placed the box on the counter, and Jessica looked inside to find the most beautiful assortment of baking tools, whisks, spatulas, and measuring cups, all vibrant and shiny. These are amazing, she exclaimed, genuinely pleased. I know you have big plans, and I want you to have the best tools to bring them to life. Plus, these will make all those recipes you shared even easier. Jessica could feel the warmth flush through her. His support felt like a sweet balm, easing the tension that had built up earlier with Robert. But I hope you save me a cookie or two for our meeting tomorrow, he added with a playful wink. I always save you a taste, she replied teasingly, instantly daydreaming of the delicious cookies she would bake. The moment felt precious, a reminder that she wasn't alone in this. Mark was here, and he believed in her. But as they chatted about baking and future plans, a small voice in her head nagged at her. What if Robert's doubts resurfaced? What if he continued to battle her for control? Little did she know, the tension between her past and future was far from settled. Would she be able to handle the pressures that were brewing beneath the surface? Jessica watched Mark as he admired her kitchen, the warmth of his smile restoring the energy in the air. He picked up a bright red spatula, twirling it between his fingers like a sword. You're going to use these tools to change the world, he said, his voice filled with sincerity. Jessica felt a flutter in her chest. He believed in her dream just as much as she now believed in it herself. But the nagging thoughts about Robert loomed over her like a dark cloud. Tomorrow's meeting, she started, biting her lip as uncertainty washed over her. I want to show Lily's teachers what I'm planning, but what if they judge me for my past? For my choices? Mark set the spatula down and turned to face her, his expression soft yet resolute. You're not your past, Jess. You're a remarkable woman trying to build a beautiful life for you and Lily. Just remember to focus on the future you're creating. Drawn in by his unwavering confidence, her heart surged with determination. Just then, the soft sound of giggles floated in from the living room, bringing a smile to her face. She could always count on Lily to light up any room she entered. I'll be right back, Jessica said, leaving Mark in the kitchen while she made her way down the hall. As she reached the living room, she found Lily sprawled on the floor, playing with her dolls. The sight chased away the remnants of her doubts. Hey, sweet girl, she said, kneeling beside her. What are you up to? Lily looked up, her blue eyes shining with joy. I'm playing bakery. Look, Mommy, they're baking cupcakes. She held up a doll and a toy mixer. Jessica laughed, her heart swelling at the thought of how innocent and beautiful her daughter was. I've got an idea. How about we bake together this weekend? Jessica suggested, fully embracing the thought of sharing her passion with Lily. Yes, we can make rainbow cupcakes. Lily cried out, bouncing excitedly. As they planned out their pretend baking session, Jessica felt a renewed sense of hope. Maybe she could not only teach Lily the art of baking, but also embed in her the values of ambition and creativity. Time disappeared between them as they chatted until finally, the sun began sinking lower in the sky. The golden light poured through the window, framing the two of them in a warm glow. Jessica felt her worries about Robert nibble away, just a little, distracted by the love radiating from her daughter. However, it wasn't long before her phone buzzed again from the kitchen. Curiosity piqued. She slipped away from Lily's side to see what it was. The screen lit up with a message from Robert. "We need to discuss the meeting. Let us talk before it." Her heart sank. The storm of anxiety returned, heavy and relentless. Was he going to throw more negative energy her way? She couldn't let him do that. Not now when she felt so close to her dreams. Taking a deep breath, Jessica steadied herself. "I'm not going to let him steal my joy," she whispered to the empty kitchen. With a glance back at Lily, happily lost in her world of make-believe, Jessica felt the resolve solidifying within her. "Tomorrow, I will show him I'm not afraid," she murmured, clutching the phone tightly. Just then, Mark re-entered the living room, his eyes bright as he caught the tail end of her conversation. "Everything okay?" "Just typical Robert," she sighed, but then she steadied herself. "But you know what? I'm ready to stand up for myself. For Lily. That's the spirit," Mark responded, enthusiasm dripping from his words. Yet, even as he said it, Jessica could sense that the quiet tension lingered, waiting to be unleashed. Later that night, as Jessica tucked Lily into bed, she couldn't shake the mounting worries about the meeting that loomed ahead. Closing the door to her daughter's room, she leaned against the wall for a moment, feeling conflicted. Would she be strong enough? Could she truly defend her dreams against the man who had once predicted her failure? As sleep beckoned, she replayed Mark's encouraging words in her mind. They were like an anchor, grounding her as doubts swirled around her head. She knew she had to confront her past to thrive in the future. The night felt heavy, but somewhere in it, a flicker of hope sparked. She brightened at the thought that maybe, just maybe, tomorrow would bring the breakthrough she desperately needed. Jessica fell asleep dreaming of sugar and frosting's colors and possibilities bursting into bloom. But in the depths of her dreams, she couldn't shake what awaited her with Robert. Tomorrow held the key, and in the morning light, she had to be ready for all that came next. Would she emerge victorious, or would the shadows of her past drag her down again? Jessica awoke to the sound of birds chirping outside her window as soft rays of sunlight filtered into her room. Today was the day. Today changes everything, she whispered to herself, determination igniting her spirit. She jumped out of bed, brushing her fingers through her hair and taking a deep breath. After preparing breakfast, she found Lily at the table, twirling around happily. "Mommy, is today the big day?" Her daughter's excitement was contagious, and Jessica couldn't help but smile, cherishing every gleam in those bright, trusting eyes. "Absolutely, my little superstar. A big day for both of us." They shared pancakes, laughter filling the air as they chatted about their bakery plans. Helping Lily with each bite, Jessica felt the warmth of hope radiating in her heart. Funny how all the doubts that had lingered like shadows seemed to fade whenever she focused on her daughter. After breakfast, Jessica dressed in her favorite blue top, bold, bright, and reminiscent of the sky. This was her moment. She dropped off Lily at school, the parking lot brimming with morning energy. As she walked into the building, her confidence wavered slightly, but she took a deep breath. "I've got this. For Lily," she whispered, summoning every ounce of courage as she pushed the door open. But the meeting with Robert loomed ahead, gnawing at her calm resolve. With every second that ticked by, she felt both excitement and anxiety brewing inside of her. What would he say? Would he bring up old wounds, or see the strong woman she had become? When the clock struck 10, Jessica found herself outside the cafe again. Trees swayed gently in the breeze, but her legs felt rooted to the ground. Finally, with a firm nod to herself, she walked inside. And there, waiting, was Robert. He looked composed as always, but there was an unmistakable intensity about him. "Jessica," he greeted, his tone neutral yet watchful. "Robert," she returned, her voice steady despite the thumping in her chest. They sat across from each other, tension palpable in the air. "Let us get straight to the point. I think we need to reconsider your plans regarding our daughter. We can't put her in a box just to fit a standard," Jessica shot back, her voice rising slightly, fueled by the strength she had found in her journey. "I want to give Lily a life filled with dreams. Isn't that what we should want?" His expression shifted slightly as she pressed on. "You don't get it, do you? Stability is what she needs, not fantasies. A fire sparked in her belly. Stability shouldn't mean giving up our true selves. You think her life will be better if we rely on someone else's ideas of success? His demeanor faltered for a moment. What are you saying? I'm saying that I'll be weaving dreams into reality for both of us. For Lily, my bakery isn't just a dream, it's a future. Robert leaned in, registering her sincerity. But, can you really handle it? You're taking a risk. Yes, a risk worth taking. Because this is for Lily. I refuse to bury myself beneath someone else's expectations. For a moment, silence enveloped them. Jessica could see something shift in Robert's eyes. The judgment softened. Was it understanding? Look, Jess, he began, his tone slightly less icy. I followed your journey. Preparing to open a bakery, taking that big leap, I get it. But you have to understand the stakes. You can't just chase every whim, you need a backup plan. Frustration tainted her resolve. This isn't whimsy, this is passion. I am not my past failures. Lily and I deserve a shot at happiness. And you'll make it work? He challenged, something almost like admiration flickering beneath his serious tone. I will, she assured, her conviction shining through. I stand for this both for me and for her. A pause followed, charged with intensity. Slowly, Robert shook his head, his expression one of begrudging respect. I wish I had your courage. Jessica felt a knot inside her start to loosen, just a little. Then let us support each other. Let us try to put our differences aside for her. I can agree to that, he said, a glimmer of hope flashing. Between them, maybe we can find a way forward. As they began discussing terms, the burden Jessica had been carrying felt a little less heavy. The road ahead still looked rocky, but maybe she could face it head-on with a new perspective. With that, she stood up, both relieved and exhilarated. Thank you, Robert, for seeing me today. Just remember to keep your feet on the ground, he warned lightly, a hint of a smile teasing his lips. Brimming with newfound strength, Jessica turned to leave, her heart soaring. Today hadn't just changed her outlook. It had begun reshaping her life. Walking out the cafe door, the sunlight enveloped her like a warm hug. As she stepped back into the world, she felt lighter, ready for whatever came next. Later that day, as she picked Lily up from school, her daughter rushed into her arms, all energy and joy. Mommy, did it go well? Better than I imagined. I think we might just get our bakery one day. Lily's eyes sparkled. Yay. Can we bake today? Yes. We can bake our rainbow cupcakes. As they walked home hand in hand, Jessica felt hope filling her heart with every step. She knew that this journey was only the beginning. With each leap she took, she would embrace what lay ahead, for both her and Lily, determined to create the life they both deserved. With dreams dancing in the air like sweet petals in a spring breeze, she was ready for the next chapter. Don't forget to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support is what keeps this journey alive. Comment below and share your feelings about Jessica's triumph. What did this journey mean for you? And please, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to show your support because you are the heart of this community. Don't wait, not even one more second to share.